You know that feeling, right? Just drowning in a sea of unread articles, reports, and emails? Well, what if I told you we could turn that information overload into a superpower? Today, we're going to learn how to stop just reading words and start reading with some serious purpose and speed. Yeah, I thought so. Does this look a little too familiar? That mountain of stuff to read that just never seems to get any smaller? Trust me, you are not alone. The sheer amount of information we're expected to get through these days is just staggering, and there are never enough hours in the day. So, what's the root of the problem? Well, it goes way back. We were all taught to read the exact same way, word by word, line by line. And look, that's great when you're first learning to read, but for the world we live in now, it is a recipe for burnout. It just turns reading into a total chore instead of what it should be, a path to knowledge. Okay, so the fix for this requires a pretty big mindset shift. We're moving towards something called conceptual reading. Basically, it means you stop getting lost in the individual trees and you start seeing the whole forest first. Before you dive into all the little details, you gotta grasp the big ideas, the structure, and what the author is even trying to say. This right here is the foundation for reading faster and smarter. So, how do we actually do that? Well, let's open up our new toolkit. Our very first tool is called skimming. If conceptual reading is our goal, then skimming is the express lane to get there. It's going to be your go-to strategy for getting a quick, accurate overview of pretty much anything. So what is skimming, really? It's basically a high-speed flyover of a text. And the key word here is overview. You are not trying to understand every single detail. You're not trying to memorize facts. Nope. You are just building a quick mental map of the content so you know the main theme and how it's all put together. I love this analogy. Think of it like watching a movie trailer. In just 2 minutes, you get the main characters, you get the plot, the conflict, the whole vibe of the film, right? It's enough to decide if you want to spend 2 hours watching the whole thing. Skimming does the exact same thing, but for a piece of text. So when do you use this thing? Oh, pretty much all the time. You can use it to check out an article and see if it's even useful for your research. You can get the main points before heading into a meeting so you actually sound like you know what's going on. Or you can use it to manage your time during a test, to figure out which questions to tackle first. It is an incredibly versatile tool. And look, this isn't just random, chaotic speed reading. There's a real process to it. First, you read the title and any subheadings. Then you read the intro, just the first couple of sentences. And now, here's the absolute key. You read only the first sentence of each paragraph. Why? Because those are usually the topic sentences. They're like little mini headlines for each idea. Glance at any pictures or charts, read the conclusion, and boom, you're done. You've basically just downloaded the gist of the entire text in a tiny fraction of the time. Okay, so skimming is awesome for getting the big picture. But what if you need one tiny specific detail that's buried somewhere in a 20-page document? For that, my friend, we need a totally different tool. We need to learn how to scan. Think of scanning as your precision instrument. It's not about general understanding at all. This is a search and find mission. You have a single target, a name, a date, a statistic, and you ignore literally everything else on the page until that target comes into view. You know, the best way to think about it is your computer's find function. Control F or Command F. You don't read the whole web page, do you? You just type in a keyword and let the machine hunt for it. When you scan, you become that machine. Your eyes are just sweeping the page, looking for a visual clue, not processing sentences. And the applications for this are just endless. Looking for one specific number in a super dense report? Scan for it. Trying to find a particular name in a long list of sources? Scan. Answering questions where you have to pull out specific facts from a story? Scanning is your new best friend. It is all about efficiency. The process is really simple, but you have to be deliberate. First, lock your target, your key word, into your mind. Then, let your eyes fly down the page. And I mean it, don't read. Just look for those visual cues, things like bold text, numbers, or capitalized words. Only when you spot your target do you actually stop and read the sentence around it for context. All right, so now we have two distinct, really powerful strategies. But the real mastery comes from knowing which tool to use and when. So let's put them side by side. It'll make the difference crystal clear. It really just boils down to the question you're asking yourself. If your question is broad, like what's the main point of this article, you skim. But if your question is super narrow and specific, like what year did this event happen, you scan. Simple as that. One is for the forest, the other is for finding one specific leaf. Let's just break this down even further. For purpose, skimming is about the gist. Scanning is for one specific fact. The process is also totally different. Skimming is a type of selective reading, but scanning is a visual search. And that means for skimming, you're reading things like titles and topic sentences, but for scanning, you're just hunting for those specific keywords, numbers, and names. So, why bother mastering all this? Because the payoff is absolutely huge. Seriously, this isn't just about saving a little time. It's about fundamentally changing your entire relationship with information. And let me be really clear about this. These are not just clever little tricks to get out of doing the reading. They are foundational, strategic skills. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with information, knowing how to navigate it efficiently is absolutely essential for success at school, at work, everywhere. When you master these skills, you won't just read faster, you'll actually understand more because you're reading with a purpose. You'll become a more confident test taker, you'll improve your own research and writing, and maybe most importantly, you'll finally feel like you're in command of your reading list, instead of feeling like you're being buried by it. Ultimately, this is all about focusing on strategy to build a lasting skill. It's a huge shift from trying to memorize individual words to building a system for understanding. And that is how you get long-term improvement as a reader and as a learner. So there you have it. You now have the framework, you have the tools, you know the difference between skimming for the big picture and scanning for the nitty-gritty details. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with all the time and mental energy you're about to get back? What project could you finally finish? What new skill could you learn? Or what great idea could you develop now that you're in control?